morning. It is 10:30 in the morning, and wow, it really shows on camera how long my hair is getting. I have been due for a haircut for a very long time. 10:35 a.m. on Monday, October 24th. Welcome to the corner. My name is Leigh, and this is the corner of my studio / craft room where we talk about crafty things. This is a video podcast talking about my crafty projects that I have going. I have mostly knitting, it's primarily knitting, but also some crochet, some sewing, and some cross stitch sprinkled in here and there. It is all knitting today. I have exciting news today. So if you're ready, I hope you are, because it's very exciting. I'll go ahead and tell you, I have sock patterns. I have designed my first 2 sock patterns, and a tester call is out already. So I will link the Google form below if you are interested in testing one of my first 2 sock designs. I personally am very proud of them. All right, so knitty stuff, I guess we will just hop right into it. It is a beautiful day today. If you hear weird background murmuring, the rental company we rent, they have sent the yard guys out. So the yard guys are out making their rounds. So if you hear yard work being done, you shouldn't. I think they've already done my backyard and my neighbors' backyards. I still hear them out front, but oh, speaking of out front, real quick before we talk about knitting stuff, we're gonna go on our first tangent. But last night, in like the middle of the night, there was a man out in the street hollering. Brad and I stood for like 30 minutes at the front window. We turned the lights off inside the house so they couldn't see in, and we stood at the front window and watched. Like, we tried to figure out what was going on first, because the man sounded like he was in pain and we weren't sure what was going on. But we looked out the window and he wasn't alone. There was someone with him who seemed to be like concerned for him, or was trying to like talk to him, or maybe was with him, I don't know. And there were around a car, one guy was in the car, and they were like parked in the middle of the street with the back hatch open. It was really bizarre, but we stood at the window for a while and watched as 2 police officers showed up. I guess someone called the police officers. I heard one of my neighbors come out of their house at one point and yell, like telling them to go away or something. But the cops showed up and we watched that for a little while because I was just kind of watching to see what was unfolding. And the cops ended up, they hung around for a little while. We heard them yelling a couple of times, but then the guys in the weird vehicle, the hollering dude, they just like drove away. Like the cops just told them to get out and they just left, and then the cops left. So ended up being okay. They got out without going to jail, and they left from in front of our house. So everyone wins. Everyone wins. That was a tangent, but that was something that happened in the middle of the night last night. It was legit like 1 in the morning. My neighbors were probably so pissed. Dogs were barking. It was a mess. All right, knitting stuff. Let's get to it. It may not be the last time I ramble today. Let's talk about FOs. I only have one. Only one FO. And it is mostly finished. I haven't woven in the ends yet because that's just who I am as a person. I talk about FOs on the podcast and consider them FOs without the ends woven in. Welcome. Welcome to this place where anything goes. All right. My October striped socks. And they turned out super cute. I am doing, I'm sure you've heard this spiel before if you've been here ever, but I am doing a self-imposed challenge where I knit a pair of striped socks every month for the entire year of 2022. And this is my October pair. They are knit out of a self-striping sock yarn from Area 51 Fibers. It is called Speckle or Spook, and it is a very plumpy, delicious base and the colors are just so good. Obsessed. I have a little pile over there of socks that have finished but have not had the ends woven in, and these will be going onto that pile. I really need to sit down and weave in some ends while I'm up here working at the computer. A lot of times at the computer I will knit while doing stuff. If I'm having to watch something or edit videos or whatever, I really need to just like weave in ends during that time. I think I may start doing that. And that is that. Those were in my Mountain State Stitches project bag, the s'mores one from summer sock camp this year. Absolutely adore this bag. And now it's empty and something else can go in it. That's great. It's got some yarn scraps and a straw wrapper in it. That's fine. Oh, I could show you the last 2 yarns for this year for my self-striping or my striped sock challenge, because there's only November and December left. I'm so proud of myself for staying on track with this challenge. In fact, yeah, let me show you real quick the 2 last colors I have picked out for November and December. At the beginning of the year, I picked out the entire year ahead of time, so I have had them in a separate basket and it's getting empty. So we can look forward to these together. I have, for November, a Nomadic Yarns, and this is called First Frost, and it is on the Brit sock base. I thought that was a super appropriate name. The First Frost probably will have happened already by November, but I wanted something that was kind of Christmassy, wintry at least. Wintry, yeah, there we go. Something that was wintry, even though November is still autumn. I wanted wintry, but not full on Christmas yet. So it's this gorgeous all green and greenish blue kinds of colors. Very icy, but like the evergreens have snow on them, kind of icy, you know? So good. So that's November. And then December will be full on Christmas. This is another Area 51 fibers, which now that I've knit these, or I threw them already, my October striped socks were my first time knitting with Area 51. I have several of their yarns in stash though. So now that I've knit them up, I'm excited to knit up another one. So December is just kitschy Christmas yarn. It is Area 51 fibers, like I said. And the color is Ugly Christmas Sweater Speckled Donut. And it's got red and green stripes along with stripes of like bread color, donut color, and like sprinkle frosting stripes. So those will be super fun. And that's it. That's it for the rest of the year for my self-striping sock challenge. I might do it again next year because I have plenty of self-striping yarn. Maybe in the next couple of weeks I'll sit down and I will pick 12 more self-striping yarns for next year. That sounds like a fun project. Ooh, maybe I'll record it. I'll pull out all my self-striping and we can pick together. It'd be a fun little bonus video. All right, the other FO I have is a half-finished object. A single sock. But it's one of my new sock designs, so I'm gonna wait until after I've talked about all my other stuff and then I'll do a spiel about my sock designs at the end. Let's have a sippy. Oh, this is coffee in a mug that I got from Urban Outfitters many years ago. It's a ceramic. It's got like a dipped rim. It's cute. Whips. My first whip that I have to show you is very exciting. I haven't actually worked on this in the last few days because I've been frantically working on my sock designs because I really wanted to get the tester call out this weekend. But I have some progress on my Irish Rover pullover. It looks so short. That's the back actually, but at this point, the back and the front look exactly the same. It is a pattern by Teti Lutzak of Teti's Knit Garden. And it's got these beautiful textured cables all across the front and the back. And it's got twisted cable ribbing on the cuff and the hem. And I finished the second sleeve and have attached it. So I am now on the yoke. I have literally done like one round since connecting it, but hey, it's all in one piece now, and I am just doing, I've started the raglan decreases, and that's so exciting. It looks so silly. Now, the body here, from the armpit down, is about, pardon a moment while I measure, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 12 inches, between 11 and 12 inches, I think, which is, in my brain, a really good crop sweater length for me. I am really short torsoed, but that is still cropped. So a good crop sweater length for me, but it looks silly. I don't think I've knit a bottom up sweater this cropped before, at least not in the round. So I don't know. We will see. I'm trusting the process. I have heard through reading some of the projects on Ravelry that there is quite a short raglan for this, and some people had issue with the arm's eye being big enough for them. So I may be increasing the raglan just a little bit, but we will see. That is TBD. I am going to knit a few rounds and then double check my gauge and compare it to the schematic and all of that good stuff, just to make sure that like my row gauge is accurate compared to like the actual measurement for the schematic. Because I am not a small person. I'm, you know, mid-size, but I don't have huge biceps, so I don't know. But I also don't like the feeling of like I don't want it to be tight in my armpit. That's not for me. The yarn, we'll figure it out when we get to it. The yarn here is Nutidin. I'm on my second plate, and you can see it is getting quite hollow in the middle. I'm holding double, and I'm pulling one strand from the middle and one from the outside at the same time. I just pull like a bunch out and unravel a bunch and have it in a little pile and knit it until I'm out, and then I pull some more. So I'm never like pulling actively from the cake. And this is the color Glimped. It is a gorgeous neutral with flecks of gray and brown and pink in it. And it is just, it's showing up way more yellow on the viewfinder right now. I think that must be the light. But it's definitely slightly less yellow than that. And yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm so glad the sleeves are done. They didn't take very long. I just kept getting distracted. And I went ahead and woven the ends on my sleeves as well, so that I don't have to worry about that. I think I also did on the body. Yeah, so I don't have to worry about that either. I did seam up the armpit of one sleeve already, but I have not for the second sleeve yet. I may go ahead and do that soon. I used a different yarn to seam up the armpit. I used a scrap of the Shibui Knits Pebble, which is a merino silk cashmere blend and is a bit sturdier than the Nutidin. And also the idea of sewing with Nutidin sounded like an absolute nightmare. So I just used something different that was a color that would blend in. It's a completely different weight. It was a fingering weight yarn, but I mean, you're sewing it. It doesn't really matter. Let's see if you can see how my stitching went. There you go. So you can kind of see those little weird stitches where I Kitchenered it together. But I think it looks pretty good. It looks fine. It's an armpit. Better than a hole and better than struggling with sewing with Nutidin. And that is the update on that. I only have one more whip to show you before my sock designs, but it is the Stephen West MCal. That's your warning. If you are trying to keep it secret for some reason, actually give me a second and I will tell you when to look away. But I will be showing the status of clue 3. We do not have clue 4 yet, but I'm done with clue 3, so you will have full spoilers of clue 3. Just forewarning. But first I'll show you the yarn. I am knitting my MCal shawl, the Twist and Turns, out of, I have a tag here, Ex Libris fibers. Ex Libris is a local dyer to me, Rita, and the colors I'm using are exclusive to Yarns by Design, my local yarn shop. and they are vaguely Halloween themed. All of her yarns are book themed or themed related to books in some way. So they are all of her Halloween colors are like spooky book themed. And I'm using the color, this tag is for Fire Starter. This is my accent color. And my two main colors are Dark Dance, which is a very nearly black. It's got some hand-dyed variation in it, but very, very little. And the Jade Unicorn. Maybe if I hold them together, it'll focus. There we go. Those are my main color and my contrast color. These are all three of them together. They're so good. The base is her new Shirley base, which is a 100% superwash merino / Rambouillet. I don't know what percentage is merino and what percentage is Rambouillet, but it is 100% superwash wool. There is no nylon, and it is plumpy and delicious, and I absolutely love working with it. It is a joy to knit up and has been keeping me motivated, really, to keep working on this shawl because it is wild. I will tell you that so far, if I had seen this pattern, I don't know if I would have picked it to knit it, it not being part of the MCAL. All right, if you do not want spoilers, look away now. I may or may not put on the screen what time you should come back because I may forget or I may just not feel like it. But look away. Oh, damn, never mind. Pause, I have to change my battery. All right, battery has been changed. That's what I get for not putting a fresh battery in at the beginning. All right, MCAL spoilers happening now. I have finished Clue 3, which is these strips with these traveling cables, traveling twisted stitches down one side and down the other side. This thing is becoming huge, monstrous. And I have theories for how this is gonna go, like theories. I don't think this is gonna go straight out. I think this is gonna like curve somehow, but I don't know. I honestly have no idea how this is actually gonna go, but that's what my shawl is looking like. And I should have told you this at the beginning. Never mind. I will tell you in just a second. I'm gonna finish talking about this and then I'll tell you the nonsense I was gonna tell you at the beginning of the video and forgot. But yeah, this is how it's looking. It is a wild ride. Not really sure what's going on. I have seen in this section, the end of, this was section 2, or Clue 2, not section 2, that people were talking about how some people's, this section here where it connects to this section here, everyone's ending at different points. Some people are ending all the way up here, some people are ending up way down here. I'm somewhere around here. I don't know. I followed the pattern exactly. Everyone got their own stitch for a row. Who knows? Who knows? But anyways, yeah, that's how that's going. I have these weird dongly bits and we don't know where they're going yet. Like I said, it's currently Monday. I have a few days to sit on it and think about it. Oh, also I should address the bonus section of Clue 3 was making little I-cords and weaving them through the antler cables using a pop of color, either your accent color or adding in new colors. And I considered doing that and I decided I may do it, but I don't want to do it right now. I am going to wait until the shawl is finished and then decide if I want to add those. If I feel like I need more orange in here somewhere, then I will add it. If not, I'm not going to worry about it because why would I? So yeah, I'm just holding off on that and thinking about it. It's not necessary right now, so putting it off. And that's that. That is my MCAL update. I am very, very, very proud of myself for keeping up this year. I definitely did not last year. And I think I should. I don't want to speak too soon because Clue 4 has not been released yet. But I really hope that I can finish by the end of the month. I would love to be done with this when it's over. You know? Oh, yeah. That's my MCAL. There's not a whole lot more to say about it, I guess. I'm loving it. I'm loving working on it, and I honestly don't know if it's the pattern or the yarn, but there is one thing I can say: they do not get boring, these shawls. They definitely don't get boring. So that's that. Now I will tell you what I forgot to tell you at the beginning of the video, and it is that I had a bonus video a bonus video up last week. It was actually up over the weekend, and it was a vlog. I showed some updates for some projects that I've been working on, and I also like just took you through some of my days as I went out of the house, which doesn't happen every day. So that was fun. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. If you're into vlogs, I personally love vlogging. I kind of wanted to practice for Vlogmas, and I've already taken some notes. Is that all my whips? That is all my whips. Oh, back to projects. I'm so bad at transitions. That is all of my whips besides my new sock design. Now, my new sock designs, let me tell you, I'm very excited about them. The first one here is almost finished. I'm on the toe for my sample sock, and it is a colorwork sock. It was inspired by a vintage sweater I have from the 80s. I thrifted it in college, I believe. Yes, I thrifted it in college, and I love it. I wear it all the time. It is a cotton sweatshirt or sweater, and it is all over color work, and it has some really fun details. So I decided to design a pair of socks around it. The colors are absolutely nothing like my sweater, but I am pleased with the color combo nonetheless. I also have a second color combo picked out that I have not cast on yet, but I will be casting on today so that I can make a second, more muted sample. If you would like to test knit for either of the two patterns I'm about to show you, like I said, I will link down below the application. It's kind of an application, like I'm not expecting a ton of people to apply, so I'm not screening that greatly. I need to have a way to gather everyone's information. So that's mainly what it's about. But yeah, this is my first sock pattern. It looks so good on camera. It has not been washed or blocked yet, so it'll even out a little bit in blocking. But it's got this really fun textured cuff. And the color work is a combination, if I hold it kind of sideways, you can see, it is a combination of stranded color work and texture. Like there are purl stitches within the color work chart. And that is one of the things that I love the most about this pattern. I just think it's so cozy and interesting. It's really great. But the texture, the purl stitches always happen in the main color. They never happen with the contrast colors. So you only ever knit the contrast colors. And then the texture, I came up with this texture pattern that travels right down from the gaps. Yeah, I absolutely adore this texture pattern. It's all around in all of the solid areas. Look at that orange. This orange is insane. And this is a 4-color version. There's also color work at the toe with a contrast toe. This color combo is insane. It's like a bright, fun thing. I also traveled the color work along the sole of the foot, doing a 1x1 color work instead of taking the chart all the way around. And I really like how that turned out. Oh, this is the 4-color version. There is instructions in the pattern to do a 2-color version. So imagine exactly this sock, but instead of having the orange in it, it would be all white. So there would be white here, a white heel, and white here as well. Or whatever, I mean, you're choosing your colors, whatever colors, but imagine that. And then also instructions for a 2-color version, which you can use a sock set for. And the 2-color version has the pop of color here, but this is the main color. And then all one color for the color work in both sections. And a contrast toe, but not a contrast heel. I tried to make sure that you would have enough yarn to get you through all of the color work and the contrast toe with a sock set, a 100 gram and a 20 gram set. So yeah, the 2-color version would not have a contrast heel, but yeah, 3 different versions of a sock. And these are so much fun. I love them. I love how they turned out. And I also designed a sister pattern. If you can imagine, you can probably guess what it looks like. I have it actually sitting here on a blocker already because I finished it and I had to take photos. But this is the sister pattern. The colorwork socks do not have a name yet, but the sister pattern here does have a name. And these are the Bond Weave socks. The name Bond Weave comes from it's made up, but it's the merging of 2 patterns of brickwork. There is a combination running bond and basket weave, I think, style of brickwork, and the pattern looks a lot like how this texture looks. So I took the running bond and the basket weave names and I made the bond weave name. So these are my bond weave socks. They are entirely knit out of the texture in this sock, which in this really dark, really solid color, you can see it a bit better. The texture, like you can see the ridges in it, because it's not just a waffle, it's not just a rib, it's more than that. And it's also super intuitive and super meditative and easy to memorize. You don't have to think at all. Like, most of it is knitting, which is my favorite. Just the texture is every few rounds instead of every other round even. It's every few rounds, and that's just, yes. I have done the same textured cuff here at the top, which I love this kooky rib. And then here on the bond weave pattern, you can see the texture, this beautiful uneven rib texture. We have alternating ribs of broken rib and solid knit stitches or stockinette, whatever. And I did a rounded toe that I have been loving lately, and I have written it up to use a German short row heel because I prefer short row heels. That's what I always do. I basically always knit a sock with a short row heel. So yeah, it has a short row heel. And these are so meditative. I love these so much. This yarn is Big Sky Yarn Co. There you go. In the silky sock base, which is a merino silk blend in the color Vintage. It is a tonal. I do recommend using a tonal or a lightly speckled yarn for this pattern. Highly variegated, may get a bit lost, but you know, do whatever floats your boat. It's a great almost vanilla sock pattern. And I've also started a second sock using a lightly speckled yarn. I wanted to see what it looked like in a different kind of color. I will also see how it knits up in all of my testers color options. I'm so excited to see. And this is my second one. And this is actually, the cuff here is longer than on my original sample. And this is how I have it written up. I love this longer cuff. So it is written up to have this slightly longer cuff. And wow, you can really see the texture in this one. Look at that. Incredible. And this sample is knit out of Playful Day yarns on the classic sock base, which is 75/25. I think she flips and flops between her two classic sock bases. And the colorway is Dream Clouds. This is what the ball looks like. It doesn't look super interesting in the ball, but it is a beautiful creamy base with very slight variations of pinks and blues and yellows. It definitely looks, you can see the color more accurately knit up here. Slight little speckling, but I am obsessed. I'm going to knit this pattern so many times. I love a mindless meditative texture. It's my absolute favorite sock to knit. So yeah, I have tester calls for both of these up right now. I only have a couple testers lined up so far because I just put the test call out like last night. Probably after everyone was done with the internet for the day. But yeah, and I also haven't checked today. I haven't checked yet today at all. So yeah, go check it out if you're interested in testing either of these or both of them for me. I have a fairly short turnaround time. I have 2 to 3 weeks depending on when I get your application. I plan on only having the application open for about a week. And if you apply at the very end of that, then you'll only have 2 weeks. But if you apply now, you'll have 3 weeks to test. Because I only need 1 sock done, and 2 weeks even is plenty of time for 1 single sock, especially in the textured sock. The colorwork sock, let me sell this one to you a bit more, honestly, is not that much color work. This color work is very simple. It is overall like, the leg itself is only like 25 rounds of color work, and then like 10 or 11 for the toe chart. And the rest of it is just texture. So this actually also flies by. This is about how I have to do, I designed both of these sock patterns for me, like what I wanted to knit. And for colorwork socks, all over colorwork just isn't really my jam. I get really bored with it. So having a shot of colorwork here and a shot of colorwork here is just about perfect for me. That's what I wanted. So here we go. That's me selling those on you a little bit and trying to let you know that both of these sock patterns are way easy. Very relaxed kind of knitting, which is why I have a shorter timeline for the test. I'm sorry, I had blood work done last week. I had blood work done last week, and yeah, last Tuesday, and I got the results yesterday, and I emailed them to my sister and to my mother because they are both lab techs. That's all they, my mom did it for like, you know, 30 years or something, and my sister is in school for it right now. She's in a lab tech program. So I sent them my results so that they could check them out, and my sister had just texted me like her thoughts on it. So I got distracted. But yeah, that was my exciting news, my new socks. I'm so excited about them. I'm so excited to have them out to the world. I want to release them around Thanksgiving. That gives me a little bit of wiggle room too if I need to extend the tester period. I may push it back, like the deadline back like a week or so I still have time to like release it by Thanksgiving. But yeah, whenever it's ready, I will be releasing it, and I will be updating you as we go on actual dates when I know them. Since these are my first patterns, I'm figuring out my whole like pricing thing, because everyone does it a little bit differently, and you know, it ranges from socks. But I know a lot of designers will sell their designs for a flat rate no matter what design it is. You always pay the same. But I plan on ranging my pattern prices depending on how much work it took me to make them. A simpler pattern, like just my bond weave socks, will cost less than the colorwork version, because the colorwork version of these socks has more written instructions. It includes 3 versions of the sock, and also has charts. It is a charted colorwork design, and there are charts for all 3 color options, and there are separate charts for the leg and for the foot. So it was like way more work to write up that pattern and design that pattern, mainly because it's 3 patterns in one. Yeah, so I will be probably ranging my pricing depending on how much work it actually took to design the pattern. And for now, I only plan on designing socks, maybe switching into accessories a bit, like maybe hats or something, but I don't plan on getting like, it's not my goal to be a designer full time. I don't plan on ever getting into real complex work. Like designing shawls just doesn't sound like fun for me, and designing garments sounds like more work than I'm willing to do for kind of just like, I don't want to say just for fun, but kind of for fun. Like this is a little side thing. I'm not planning on being a designer full time. That's all the knitting I have. That's all the knitting content. Instead of me rambling about how much work I have to do like I do every episode, I want to tell you about the book I'm reading. I have been reading The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and I think that's how you pronounce his name, Patrick Rothfuss. If you are into fantasy, I'm sure you've heard of this, but it is I think it's kind of like a modern classic, but I'm finally getting around to reading it. I have a friend who gave me both of the books. There's supposed to be a third one at some point, but it's not out yet. So I have the first two. I haven't been reading a whole lot, just like on my own on the couch or anything, but this has been living in the bathroom, which means I read about 2 or 3 chapters a day. They're very short chapters, and I am about this far in, and I love it. I was not sure I like fantasy, but I'm really hit or miss with fantasy novels. But the way this one is written is beautiful, but also easy to read. He's not all up his ass and pretentious about how he writes his fantasy. I haven't read a lot of newer fantasy novels. So yeah, I just wanted to say that I love it. If you've read it, let me know what you think below. If you have not, or you have not heard of it, it is so far a fantasy novel about a man who is telling his life story. Sounds boring as hell, but it is actually endearing. Like the characters are endearing. It's interesting. Stuff stays happening. It's great. I'm really enjoying it. And there you go. That's my little mini book review for the day. Is there anything else? I will be traveling this week. I will be leaving on Thursday morning, early Thursday morning. I will be driving to Baltimore. And I will be able to do it with peace of mind because I am waiting for a phone call today sometime for my car to be picked up from the shop. We dropped it off last week. You will have seen me in the vlog that I posted over the weekend. I filmed walking home from dropping it off, but I dropped it off at the mechanic for my annual inspection, and there was something wrong with it, so I had to leave it over the weekend, and it should be done today. So my car will be all good to go, checked out and road ready. So I'll be driving to Baltimore on Thursday morning. It is about a 4-hour drive, and I will be seeing one of my best friends. We have been friends since middle school, and she lives in Baltimore now. I'll be staying with her. Very excited. We get to hang out, and then she's gonna ride home with me back here to Pittsburgh. Her partner is gonna be here in Pittsburgh for some work stuff, so she's gonna ride back with me to Pittsburgh and spend Halloween with them, and then they're gonna go back to Baltimore together. It'll be so good to see her. I'm so excited. It's been years since I've seen her because I haven't seen her since right before we moved from South Carolina. She lived near us, but then like a year later she moved to Baltimore. So then that was it. But yeah, I think that's all I got. That's the exciting stuff for this week. Going to Baltimore, having my car fixed, and sock designs. I think that's plenty. That's all some pretty exciting stuff. The sock designs, I'm so excited. I get to knit so many socks now that I'm done early with my twist and turn Zimcal for the week. I am going to try and knit as much sock as I can before then. I'm just gonna let y'all go. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love talking to you. It's great. It's a great time. And I will see y'all in the next one.